Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a lesson on prayer. But it doesn't start with a big theological text or a famous verse. Nope. It starts with a sandwich. And it's all about this teenager's really simple but kind of mysterious lunchtime habit.
Yeah, think about it. Why would a teenager push his sandwich away from him right before he eats? It's a little weird, right? But believe it or not, that one small move is really the key. It unlocks this incredible story about friendship, memory, and what faith can look like.
So the story actually starts with someone just watching. It's a first-person account, and this person is observing a student, a kid named Michael, at lunch. And it's not just a one-time thing. He notices this happening every single week.
Yeah, like clockwork. Every single week, it was the same exact ritual. Michael would sit down, he'd look at his sandwich, and then he'd just push it away. Only then would he bow his head to pray. You gotta wonder, right? What's going on there?
And after he prayed for a few seconds, he'd reach out, grab the sandwich, and just start eating. But seeing this strange little ritual over and over again, well, you can imagine, it gets you curious. So after weeks of this, the person watching finally decided, okay, I've got to ask.
And he just asks the one question that we're all thinking. Michael, hey, why do you push your food away before you pray? It's such a simple question, but Michael's answer? His answers would take this whole thing from just a weird habit to a really powerful lesson.
Because what Michael says next completely flips the script on what you think saying grace is all about. You realize pretty quickly this has nothing to do with the sandwich. It's all about a friend.
And his answer is, it's just heartbreaking. He says, my best friend committed suicide 2 years ago. And right away, you understand, this whole ritual, this pushing away of the sandwich, it's tied to that pain and to this deep, deep regret he carries.
And here's the part that just hits you. He says, the day he died, I spent more time praying for my food to be blessed than for my best friend to be saved. Wow. That's it, right? That was his turning point. This devastating moment where he realized that maybe, just maybe, his prayers had been focused on the wrong thing.
And that's why he does it. He says, so now when I pray, I push my food forward and pray for my friends. He totally transformed that moment. It's not just grace for his food anymore. It's what's called intercession, which is just a way of saying he's praying for someone else. That simple act of pushing the sandwich away became his physical reminder to put his friends first.
So the lesson here, the big takeaway from Michael's story, is that saying grace can be so much more than just blessing a sandwich. It's about shifting our focus. It's about realizing that prayer can be a way to care for other people, to turn our attention away from ourselves and towards them.
Okay, so Michael's story is really powerful, right? But it also brings up a bigger question. What's actually happening when we pray? From a spiritual point of view. The source material actually dives into that next.
And the first thing it points out is that prayer isn't supposed to be some complicated formula. There are no secret handshakes or shortcuts. At the end of the day, it's presented as just an honest, open conversation with God.
And get this, here's a really powerful idea from the source. It says that when we pray, we have God's undivided attention. It's not like he's multitasking. The idea is that he literally stops everything else just to listen to you.
Now, to back this up, the lesson points to a bunch of examples from the Gospels. Think about it. Jesus is on his way somewhere, he's got huge crowds following him, and yet he stops. For a blind man crying out, for a woman who just touches his clothes, for Zacchaeus up in a tree. He stops everything for one person.
All right, so we've got the why from Michael's story, and we've got the what, this idea of God's undivided attention. So what about the how? Well, the lesson gets super practical here and lays out a kind of playbook with different ways you can actually pray. One way they suggest is a really simple 4-part prayer. It's a nice little framework. You start with praise, then move to confession, then you make your requests, and you wrap it all up with thanksgiving. Easy to remember, right? Praise, confession, requests, thanksgiving.
But hey, if that structured approach isn't your thing, no worries. The lesson offers a bunch of other ideas too. You could pray like Jesus did in John 17, for yourself, then your friends, then the world. Or you could use the Psalms as your guide, kind of praying along with David. You could even just write a letter to God. The point is, there are a ton of ways to do it.
So this all sounds great, It's powerful, it's accessible, but let's be real. Sometimes it's still really hard to do. And the lesson circles right back around to that very human problem. What stops us?
And it tackles a big one right away, the fear of praying out loud. You know that feeling? It's super personal, and maybe you feel awkward or you're worried you won't say the right words. That's a really common anxiety, and the source speaks directly to it.
And the answer is pretty simple and freeing. It doesn't matter how you do it. Your prayer can be on paper, it can be a song, it can be just in your head, or it can be out loud. The method isn't the point. It's the conversation that matters. There's no one right way.
Which brings us to the very end. And the lesson leaves us with a question for you, really. After hearing Michael's story, after seeing all these simple ways to connect, what's keeping you from praying? What's stopping you from having that conversation?